everybody. Welcome to a special episode of On the Line. Joe Rexrode here with our Vanderbilt and Tennessee beat writers, and it's all about that game. It's exactly what we dreamed of, guys. It's 5-6 versus 5-6. Winner goes to a bowl game. Loser goes home. I guess technically Vandy could still lose and get in, but let's just say this is for everything. And first thing, guys, before we get into the game, what does this mean for each of the programs you cover?
Well, I'll start with Vanderbilt. Derek Mason isn't in the best spot right now. I mean, he's got plenty of time left on his contract right now. Add 4 years coming into this one. But a new athletic director is coming into Vandy. Derek Mason will be evaluated, if not short-term, at least long-term. And, if you can beat your rival, Tennessee, which this hasn't been done 3 times in a row since the 1920s, and you can get to a bowl game, would be the second in 3 years under Derek Mason, you suddenly go from hot seat coach to fairly comfortable coach, and you can do all that in one game. It's a fine line at Vandy. From a 5-7 is not so good, 6-6 is really good, and that's the situation that Derek Mason and Vandy see themselves in this weekend.
Yeah, and I think for Tennessee, it's a chance to go into the offseason selling progress and selling momentum. I mean, obviously, Tennessee's already has the wins over Auburn, over Kentucky. You can say this was a better season than last year, but if they end with a loss to Vanderbilt, how much better was it than last year? Because then they would have still finished last in the SEC East for the second year in a row. They would have lost to all of their rivals. Several of those losses were blowout losses, and so I think it totally changes the perception of Jeremy Pruitt's first season. And the fact is, Tennessee's lost to Vanderbilt a couple years in a row now, and that's something that can't continue. Of all of Tennessee's rivals, Vanderbilt's the one they have to solve first, and then they have to work their way up.
So, Adam, you're telling me 5 wins not so good, 6 wins very good. Excuse me. There's no middle ground at Vanderbilt.
Well, I mean, I said not so good. I didn't say terrible. 4-8 would be bad. 3-9 would be terrible. I mean, Vandy doesn't have as good of prospects next year. And Joe, you and I have talked about this. They could lose a lot of guys to the NFL this year. Kyle Shermer will be gone. Keyshawn Vaughn, maybe. Jawan Williams, maybe. Jared Pinkney, probably. And so if you're going to win, that's get to a bowl game and beat Tennessee. This is one of your better chances this year. I mean, personnel-wise, you look at the two, and Vandy, personnel-wise, you could say maybe has a slight edge in that a lot of these players that I just named have beaten Tennessee the last 2 years. I wouldn't say UT's the underdog. I think it's about a 3.5-point spread, but Vandy will be the underdog in the near future, most likely. They're not right now.
Okay, if there's one key from each of you for this game, what would it be?
I think for Tennessee, it's protecting the quarterback, whoever that is. It's been such an issue for the Vols this season, and got Jarek Garantano knocked out of the game against Missouri. And Vanderbilt's pass rush hasn't been great this season. It really hasn't done much at all. I think they've ranked last in the SEC in sacks. But in any event, I mean, Tennessee's gone up against some mediocre pass rushes this year and looked pretty bad against it. The games that they've done pretty well protecting the quarterback, Auburn and Kentucky, they've had some success, but there's been no consistency. There really isn't any rhyme or reason. I can't tell why they pass protect all right one game and they're horrible the next. And I just think that offensive line is really the key for whether this team goes or not.
I'd say for Vanderbilt, it's going to be, this is for both teams, but if Vandy's going to win, it's going to win by running the ball and stopping the run. I know that's a coach's cliche that you win it at the line, but I think that's where it's going to be. UT has not run the ball well. Now, they had over 200 yards against Kentucky, and maybe the team that beat Kentucky shows up in this game, but 5 out of the last 6 games, UT has failed to run for at least 100 yards. Vanderbilt, on the flip side, has given up at least 200 yards in 5 of the last 6 games. So if UT can run the ball and they don't have to rely on their quarterback, they have a pretty good chance of winning this. On the flip side, if Vandy can get 150, 180 yards at a Keyshawn Vaughn, then Vandy's probably going to win this game. Vaughn's had 172, 182, and 127 in the last 3 games. If he gets around those numbers, UT's going to have to stack the box with a whole lot more guys, and you're going to give Kyle Shermer a chance to throw against one-on-one coverage. Whoever runs the ball, whoever stops the run wins this game.
Yes, very coach speaky of you, Adam. Not that you're wrong. To me, there are two clear underdogs in this game. It's both defenses. I just, maybe I'm still, sort of floating from watching that Monday Night Football game, but I think we're going to see a lot of big chunk plays and a lot of points in this game. So who's going to win and why?
Well, for the reasons that I just said, those and some others, I think Vanderbilt wins this one. I think the score I picked earlier in the week was 27-20. I don't think it's going to be quite as high scoring, Joe, as maybe you think. I just, I think Tennessee could come and show us an Auburn game or a Kentucky game, or they may show us some of the other games that they played not so well. I just feel like a good Tennessee is a little more the exception than the rule right now. Vanderbilt has not really been really good or really bad this year. I think we know what we're going to get, which is going to be an okay game. So I think maybe Vandy's game is a little more the sure thing, so I'm picking them by about a score.
I have Tennessee 27-24. I'm not sure how good I feel about it because I don't know how good you can feel anytime you pick Tennessee this year. They've really been a study in inconsistency, like Adam said. But I think they have shown a higher ceiling than Vanderbilt, no question, with the wins over Auburn, with the wins over Kentucky. Vanderbilt's season, they've sort of beat the teams they should beat. They've lost the teams they should lose to. I just can't quite figure out whether Tennessee's a team they should beat or whether it's a team they should lose to.
Well, you do feel good if you're me and you pick them against Kentucky, Blake. So I just want to throw that out. I'm gonna milk that the entire offseason.
You are riding high off that pick.
Yeah, I'm serious. I'm gonna still be talking about that in 2024. The thing about you could say, Blake, higher ceiling. And I know the quarterback changes happen, but I still think, when you look at what Notre Dame is doing, and Vanderbilt was basically a couple plays from winning in their place. I mean, I think that you could argue that that's as impressive a performance as we've seen from either of these teams. But to your point, there seems to be a sort of level. The swings are much wilder for Tennessee, which is another thing that makes this intriguing. I'm going with Vanderbilt. So, Adam, you win again. Blake, thanks for playing. Look forward to seeing both of you guys Saturday at Vanderbilt Stadium. Thanks for watching, everybody.